everyone, and welcome to today's session, Trip to .NET MAUI. Before we jump into the presentation, let me just tell you a couple of things about myself. My name is Codrina. I work as a digital product manager. I am also a former Microsoft MVP in the developer technology category. You can find me on codingcoach.io, and I'm also a mentor. If you have any question during this session or at the end, you can find me on Twitter or on LinkedIn. So let's get started. We will start our trip today from .NET. So .NET is the platform for building literally anything. .NET is free, cross-platform, open source platform for developers that can allow you to build many types of applications. In .NET, you can use multiple languages, editors, and libraries. And you can also build your applications for desktop, web, cloud, gaming, IoT, AI, or mobile. So you can write your .NET application in languages like C#, F#, or Visual Basic. As you can see, we have mobile right in the middle, and that will be our focus today. But remember that you can build anything you might imagine. So before we jump into our actual trip today, let me just tell you a story. Why we're here today, why we have a monkey. Maybe someone knows the answer, so please tweet me what you think about the monkey. But back in 2001, .NET on Linux and the Mono project creation was built. So Mono is an open source implementation of the Microsoft.NET framework, and there were a lot of solutions and the community started to grow. Some years later, we had the Xamarin startup in 2010. And then in 2014, there was also the introduction of Xamarin.Forms and a unified product. A couple of years later, Xamarin was acquired directly by Microsoft. So with Xamarin, you can already there build cross-platform application. Then Xamarin acquired this company. Some year later, at Microsoft Build in 2020, .NET MAUI was announced officially. And in 2022, in May, .NET MAUI was available. Today, we are in December of 2023. And actually, last month, .NET MAUI was enhanced and was added in .NET 8, the latest version of .NET. So our trip today will start from Xamarin. So Xamarin, it's free cross-platform open source framework. It's actually, or better, it was an extension of the .NET platform with all the tools and libraries that you need to build application on iOS, Android, macOS, and even more. You can use and access different native features. You can use XAML, and a lot of libraries were created. Then we had Xamarin.Forms, help you building application for iOS, Android, and Windows with .NET from a single shared code base. And it also has pages, layouts, and controls that help you build and design mobile application from a single API. And our final destination today is Maui, which is not only the second biggest island from the Hawaii, but it's actually an acronym that stands for .NET Multi-Platform App UI. So with this cross-platform framework, you can create native mobile and desktop application using C# and Xamarin. So you can develop application that run smoothly on iOS, macOS, and Windows from a single code base. So with this framework, you can develop a lot of applications that work and perform great on any consumer device. So you have everything you need in a single code base, and you don't have to learn different stacks or languages. You can just use one language, the same set of libraries, and one UI stack to create your application. You will have the possibility to use lots of APIs directly from C#, and you can access over 60 device platform features. You might think about features like sensors, geolocation, the camera, the storage, and many more. You'll use just one programming language, the same code base, and you'll have a single project. You can also have all your resources in the same spot, and you will maintain the multi-target idea. So from one code base in a single project, you can target different devices. .NET MAUI just unifies Android, iOS, Windows, and macOS into a single API. And you can have the so-called write once, run anywhere developer experience. What you'll get at the end will be all native applications. So you'll have the exactly Android APK or AAB package, the IPA for iOS, your macOS and Windows application, and everything you have at the end. You don't need to create a lot of layers between your application and the actual platform you are running with. You will have a lot to choose from. There are over 50 controls, layouts, and views you can already select. There are multiple page types. You can create rich navigation types, the so-called shell navigation that you may find more on iOS with the icons at the bottom of the screen. The flyout menu, more for Android, that slides from left to right. You can also customize your handlers for the UI. You can create cross-platform graphics or for single platform. But at the end, you will have your application as you want. So if you don't have a lot of requirements that your application needs to be different on different device, you can just use the same UI. And for images or graphs, you can use SVGs. so they will adapt directly based on your screen resolution. So you can have everything you might need to create your application. You can also use the multi-window feature while creating your application. Just creating a new page in a new window and everything will work for you. But of course, apart from the UI side, pages and layouts you have a lot of things you can choose from while creating your application. You can access services and features for each platform. You have the possibility to use the sensors from the device directly. Also, you can work with the file system, the network, notification senders, the clipboard. You can copy, paste, and also create a lot of services that you might think of. With the MAUI, and as you might know already in Xamarin.Forms, there was the support for the modern patterns for data binding. We already had the model, view model pattern. You can also use reactive UI. And in addition to these two, in .NET MAUI, you can also use the model view update pattern. With model view update, you can have a unified way to build your cross-platform native front-end from a single code base. But the default built-in architecture is the model view model, and you can find some example also in the essential part of MAUI. There are also some other features you can use to save some time. For example, in .NET MAUI, we have the so-called hot restart part. So you can rebuild and redeploy your application super fast. You can debug your iPhone directly from your Windows PC. And this is something that works great with hot reload, which is another feature that helps you gain some time. So when you do your edits, you don't need to rebuild all the package and reinstall it. With these two features, you can really save some time. Another feature that can help you if you prefer to use a computer, you can still create iOS application by using the remote simulator that is already multi-touch enabled. And of course, if your Mac and your computer are on the same network, you can connect directly to them without leaving the Visual Studio. So to have everything in one screen. So with all the tools that we already had since .NET MAUI, now with .NET 8, they were enhanced. So our final destination for now is .NET MAUI with .NET 8. This has, of course, a lot of focus on performance because it's really important to look also in .NET MAUI with .NET 8 some quality, and also for the developer experience you can find the .NET MAUI extension, and now also works directly in Visual Studio Code. And you have this extension which paired with the G# dev kit will give you all the tools you need to develop your cross-platform .NET mobile and desktop application with Visual Studio Code directly using this tool. And also it's important to remember that you can debug to any target you want. And also we don't need to forget about the IntelliCode part and everything you get from the suggestions as soon as you type. Another way to build your MAUI application is using the .NET command line interface. Also from here, with just few commands, you can create your .NET MAUI application. For today, and for the demo, we'll be using Visual Studio 2022, the latest version. So we'll have modern development. Visual Studio is also intended for personal and team productivity to all kinds of products. If you have a Mac, you can use Visual Studio on Mac. For today, I will have a demo using Visual Studio 2022. It's important when you install Visual Studio to select the .NET multi-platform app UI development. If you already have Visual Studio installed, you just need to modify the workload and download also these packages here. And of course, similar for Visual Studio 2022 for Mac. Now, let's jump to a quick demo and see what we have today out of the box from Visual Studio 2022 and .NET MAUI. So here we are in our Visual Studio. We'll just create a new project. If you look for the templates, you can search for MAUI. You'll have the .NET MAUI application. We'll just click next. MAUI app 1 sounds super nice. And then we will need to select our framework. We can use .NET 7, .NET 8. I will be using .NET 8 today. And you can create your application. Already without any kind of device, mobile phone, or everything, you can create application, of course, for your Windows computer. And we can take a quick look at the solution that we have. So as you can see, inside the solution, there is just one project. We have some dependencies. So our dependencies are on .NET 8. The packages will be downloaded soon. We have some properties. In the platform part, you can see everything. We have Android, iOS, Mac, Catalyst, and Windows that I already mentioned also in the slide. We also have a folder dedicated to Tizen, which are the TV by Samsung. This is mainly supported by the community, but you can already use that. Inside the platform, we might have platform-specific resources, or as in iOS, the info plist file, which is really important once we go to the store. If we double click on it, we'll have also a nice editor that helps us navigate through this page. Here we can set up things like device orientation or some other advanced application that settings that we might need for our application. Similar in Android, we have the so-called Android manifest. So if we are really into mobile application, just take a quick quick look on it. Now also the manifest has a nice UI, so you can just select your settings from here. Also, here you can set up all your permissions. So for example, if your application needs to use the internet, you can select it from here. And once you go to the store, everything will be okay. Of course, we have similar files in Windows and Mac Catalyst for all the platforms. Of course, if you don't need all of them, you just create the ones that you actually need. We have a resource folder. Here you can find all the resources you need. The app icon, as I mentioned, if you want, you can use SVGs that will adapt very nicely to any device. Also here you can add your fonts, images, the splash screen, which is the first image that you see as soon as the application is loading. Your styles, colors, styles, everything is in here. Then we have our app XAML part. So here, basically, we will just need to identify the resources that the application is needed. We have our main page. So here we have just a scroll view, which is basically the main page, the vertical layout. We have an image, a couple of labels, and the button. It's also important to remember to set the so-called semantic properties and to take care a little bit also of the accessibility. I will start the application in the meantime. I will be using an Android emulator. You can use your Android phone connected directly to your computer if it's already unblocked in developer mode. So we can see our application and the same page that we are seeing here. So as I mentioned, we have an image. The description here will be used by some screen readers. Here is our emulator, this pop-up. The build has started. As we're targeting Android, we will create the actual package that will be installed directly on our emulator. Of course, you can interact directly from here. You can rotate it, take screenshots, and so on. And soon the application will load. The first thing we will see is the splash screen. And after that, we will see exactly the page. So this is our main page. We have a button. If we go on the code behind part, we also have the logic for the button that we have. And also we have an app shell page, and it's used for the navigation part. We only have one page here, so the shell content is just our main page. We also have a MAUI program part. Here we have the initializer, the builder part. We can also use some conditional if. So for example, if debug, we can add the debug part. Otherwise, we'll just build everything. In the meantime, our application has been deployed to the device. The first part you see is the splash screen. Then we have our application. As you can see here, hot reload has been connected. We also have a Xamarin Live preview if we want to check something in our UI part. So if we could quickly move to our main page, we'll have exactly what we are seeing inside the application. So we have a layout, an image. The semantic properties will be used by screen readers. So .NET bought in a race car number 8. We also have a hello world label with level 1. So for the web developer, this might be like a H1 part. Then we have another label and a button. So if I click the button, it will call the function from the code behind, and we can see exactly how many times this has been clicked. So what we can do while the application needs loading, we can change, for example, some colors. So let's say we want to make this button here red. We'll just go to the style part. We'll have our colors. Our primary color is this purple here. I will just go for plain red. And then I will just save. The preview has already been updated, and also our application without the need to stop and redeploy everything. This is our hot reload part, and everything's continue to work. Then we can do similar things in the logic part. So let's see, I will go to my counter, and instead of incrementing by 1, I want to count 10 by 10. So I have modified my logic. I'll just save it. I will click this button here, or Alt F10, the hot reload part. My logic will be quickly reinitialized on the application that it's running. And now each time I click on the button, you'll see that the count is incrementing 10 by 10. If we just want to work a little bit with the features that we have, we can interact directly with the emulator. If we want to check something from the live preview part, like colors and everything, if it's all okay, we can do that while our application it's working. And as you can see, we can really save a lot of time each time. So I will just stop the debug part. Of course, you can run the same application directly on a Windows machine, or if you have iOS devices or simulators, you can connect them directly from Visual Studio and run them. Now let's go quickly back to the slides. After our demo, I just want to mention all the performance improvements we had in .NET MAUI. We had a lot of pull-up request merge, and the performance goal is aiming to be slightly better than the previous version, and you can see and look for all the performance directly on this link here. But for example, in the same emulator that I used on the Pixel 5, you can see the timings on the startup from Xamarin.Forms to the latest version of .NET 8 with the project template, or an actual full application, and also the upsize has been decreased directly on save a lot of time with that. If your focus is on ideas, you'll find on your runtime with the native AOT or the so-called ahead of time compilation. And also you can investigate on, we had some memory leaks on the Apple part, and now you can identify them directly in C#. Also some improvements on the Android part, in the Java part, very similar. We have them now in C#, and you can really find and work with them and see exactly what has changed. You can follow all the time on the improvements. I also suggest you to look at them, maybe something that you have worked with in the past. You can find everything that has been created. Also, all the information, the roadmap and everything for .NET MAUI, you can find them directly in GitHub. So today we have seen what is .NET MAUI, how we get here, what is the latest version, how you can create easily an application. Maybe you can just start from the template that we have seen together. Of course, the latest step in the process will be to prepare for the store. So if you're aiming to create a mobile application, here I just put the Android example. You will need to have a developer account, compile and create your packages for release. You need to sign the APK that will be created, and then you can distribute it directly on the stores. We have seen that now to edit and modify the info list, the Android manifest, it's easier directly from Visual Studio, and you can find everything there. It's important that you have all the settings inside your application, that you identify exactly the permission you need. So anytime you need to access sensors or features like the camera and everything, you need to ask for the user permission, and also to select the appropriate flag. Once you have your application, everything, you can just submit it to the store. Might take a couple of days for them to review, and then you can find your application on the store. Of course, if you are aiming to create a Windows or a Mac application, you need to follow similar steps. So might be helpful that you just take a quick read on the application lifecycle, and how you can integrate with .NET MAUI. And as a, let's say, as a takeaway, just need to remember the main feature of .NET MAUI, that you'll have a single project with a single code base for everything. You can target mobile, desktop, of course also tablet from a single code base. And if you're already a .NET developer or into .NET, you'll find it very easy to create your application. If you have any kind of questions, any kind of doubts, you can just find me on Twitter. I will be happy to help. We can also look together if you have any blockers, or if you want to update your Xamarin.Forms application to .NET MAUI. Also, as a reminder, Xamarin.Forms end of life is planned for next year, somewhere in May. So in the meantime, you can prepare for .NET MAUI. You can use the assistant that will help you update and will do a lot of steps for you, or you can just start fresh directly in .NET MAUI. Of course, it depends on the application that you have and what is your uh, target system. Maybe now you can just decide to support more system, because with .NET MAUI that can be easily achieved. So thank you, everyone. And if you have any kind of questions, you can find me. And I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the day today. And thank you to Monkey Cough for inviting me. Wish you all a pleasant